Hey everyone, it's Zach, Ohio Skater. As you can see, yesterday I got a haircut, so the hair is shorter now. I've had it like this before. Wasn't like a new thing, but I cut a lot off. I wanted to make it short again. Was feeling it, I don't know. Wanted to see what it looked like with my beard. I've never had a beard before. I just started. I used to shave all the time, and I just started growing this beard. So I wanted to see what it would look like shorter with the beard, I guess. So yeah. Anyway, got my coffee. With the oat milk. This is like hazelnut coffee, Dunkin' Donuts, good shit. Anyway, so this video is gonna be about schizophrenia. So if you saw my introduction video, you would know that I have schizophrenia. Yeah. So I take medicine all the time. I get these shots, basically, and the shots prevent me from having any sort of hallucinations for 3 months, and then I get another shot. I get a shot every 3 months for it, and yeah. So and it pretty much takes care of the real bad parts of it, But I'm going to talk about, like, what schizophrenia was like for me, like, before I was diagnosed and when I just, like, when I really had it, you know what I'm saying? Like, when I was really experiencing it, schizophrenia. So a lot of people, schizophrenia is sort of like a meme, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people think it's funny or think it's based, like, I appreciate it, I guess, when people think it's based. It's kind of cool, like, but it's kind of for the wrong reason. Like, they think, I don't know. It's like, because it's like, oh, you're some sort of like radical terrorist or something like that. That has nothing to do with it. That's nothing. That's a stereotype. But what schizophrenia really is you just get these hallucinations. You hallucinate. You are a human that hallucinates without the need for any substances or anything. It's part of your life. You just hallucinate. Now, I don't hallucinate anymore because of these shots, these injections, but I'll tell you what my hallucinations were like, because I found people finding it interesting. People want to know. People are interested in schizophrenia. So, now, when I got it, I was in my third year of college, and I was studying political science and journalism, and I was heavy on the journalism. I was writing for the student newspaper, and I was reading lots of news articles, writing lots of news articles, and so really into the news, and studying, taking journalism classes, and so the first thing I hallucinated about was really about, like, the news, you know what I'm saying, like the news media. Basically, I would get these visions of like a stream of, like a space, like a stream of whatever out in space, like those cool photos you see of, like, photos in space of, like, big nebulas or whatever. It was like a nebula, or like but it was like a stream. It was flowing like a river, like a nebula river in space, and it was like the stream of news. You know what I'm saying? The stream of news media that is what I would relate it to. That the news flowing out of these newspapers and news outlets and into society and into our minds, and the effect that it had. And so, well, what it was really like is, so if you've heard of, like, synchronicity, I got insane synchronicity. It's like when you think something and it sort of, like, just happens, and you kind of low-key, like, predicted it, but you didn't really predict it, but you're thinking about something and then the thing happens. It's like serendipity, you know what I'm saying? Like, like, if I have in my mind, like, oh, I'm thinking of going to get food, and you don't say anything about it, but then your friend says, like, oh, do you want to go get food? And you were just thinking it. And that's like synchronicity, you know? So I would read these news articles and I would write these news articles and I was paying close attention to the news, and then and I would think something, and like my friends would like say something related to that topic. Now I know what you're thinking, like it's in the news, so it's common, like it's common, everyone's gonna, but it was really weird things like I don't know. If I was thinking about like a certain perspective on a certain topic, they might say something with that perspective on like a different topic or something. Like it was a little weird like that, you know, like, but I would notice like whatever was in the news, I would notice that my friends would say, and it was like what I was picturing them thinking. So I wouldn't, I'm not gonna say could, because I don't think it's really true, but I hallucinated like thought patterns, like people, like it's like I could see people's thoughts, you know what I'm saying? And it wasn't like I was thinking it, but like if I saw that they were if I saw that thought come out of their head, then they said it, and then it was like confirmation, like, oh damn, this is like true, like, you know what I'm saying? Like I pictured them, I literally visualized them thinking that, and then they said it, you know what I'm saying? And it's not like I was thinking about it and then but I pictured them thinking it and then they said it, and so that was really weird, and this led to like sort of, I started to think like people could send messages to each other telepathically, like people could communicate with their minds, you know, I don't know, if I was thinking something and I didn't want to say it, but I could just like shoot my thought over to my buddy, and he would be able to know exactly what I was thinking, and it was like another form of communication. And it was heavily like political, so, and it was related to the news, so it was like we were debating, we were like passing political ideas back and forth, we were like debating in our heads, you know what I'm saying, like without talking, it was like sort of like a debate, you know, it was all political, it was very political, and so I would have these debates with people in my life, but it was just in my head, but I would visualize the debate, and I would visualize the thoughts, and I would see the thoughts going back and forth, and then it started to turn into more like, I don't know, like it was like a light, like I would see these there would be these lights up on top of my, like on my wall, like on the top of my wall, and they would move, you know, they were like show lights, like concerts, like how the lights move around, and they were different colors, and I took the lights to be like different perspectives, different political perspective. Each different color light was a different political perspective, and the lights would shift, and wherever different colors intersected, you would get like a different political topic or a different political debate, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like if this light shifts over here, this green light and this blue light shift over here, they come together, and like right where they come together, I would see this like cartoon, and it was like political satire. It was like a political satire cartoon, you know, about whatever political topic, you know, and then another light would come in, and it would switch, and the angles would switch, and I would look somewhere else, and there was a different cartoon, different colors with a different cartoon. So these different perspectives were intermingling to create these different like hallucinations of political satire, and it was pretty funny, you know, it was pretty interesting stuff, but then it sort of turned into like, so it went from like a 2D cartoon type hallucinations, and then it went to like 3D, and I would see, and I was like, and it was like a video game, like a RPG, like a role-playing game, like a role-playing video game, RPG, and I would see these different things, and it's like my environment was overlaid with like this other trippy environment, and it was all passing thoughts back and forth, but it was like daily life, and it was going about, and you could like customize yourself. You could like customize your look, and other people would hallucinate that, I guess. And you would and you could see each other passing thoughts back and forth, and it was like it was like being in a video game world. There were these 3D structures that would just come out of nowhere, like sculptures. You know, I would see these like 3D moving sculptures in my environment. You know what I'm saying? That were just part of the environment. You know, yeah, and so but with that, it was like so it was still political. It was like politicians. It was mostly like Obama and Trump. You know, I would hallucinate like Obama and Trump, and I had this idea that each politician that was like president or whatever politicians, you know, through their rhetoric and through their actions and through the news media, they would create their own worlds. They would create their own political worlds, you know, and each different president was like a different video game. Like you play the Obama video game, you play the Trump video game, but it's like real life, and it's like their perspective on reality, but you're living that as your reality, but you get to choose like which perspectives you want to. So I saw this, like it was like an Obama video game kind of thing, you know, like Obama created it, and this was Obama's world, and Obama made the rules, and Obama created the game, and then there was a Trump one. There was a Trump one too, and they were different, but like it was like these whole other worlds that these politicians would create, and you were playing their video game, I guess, and that got me thinking. Like that got me thinking a lot about like the reality of politics, especially after I got diagnosed and started taking medicine. Very, very interesting stuff, but. And of course the debates, you know, so when it came to socialism, there was this whole socialist world. Mine wasn't like connected to Bernie Sanders or anything. It was just like socialism, you know, and there was this whole socialist world, and there were multiple socialist worlds. There were a lot of different socialists, and I would pass through these different socialist, trippy, hallucinating video game worlds, you know. And it was like levels to socialism, you know, and I would have to debate my way through each one, and then at the end, I guess the reward was becoming a proper socialist. You know what I'm saying? So I had all these socialist debates in my head, and there were like different socialist stereotypes, I guess you could say, that I was debating with, and the different worlds of each like stereotype, you know, because there are so many different types of socialists, and I would be in these different worlds, and I was going through the levels of like socialism, and then at the very end, there was this very intense hallucination about you know how radical society really is, how it's hidden from us, but how radical and extremist typical society really is, you know, and I started to realize like a lot of people like I didn't know this at this time, but I started to realize like a lot of people were actually fascists, you know, and then it was like they gave me an option, and it was like it was like it was like a prediction, like there's going to be a coming like communist versus fascist civil war, and those are your only two options, and you have to choose a side, you know what I'm saying? And I chose communist, and then when I chose communist, I started like hallucinating pain, you know, and I think that was drug withdrawals. But I would hallucinate this pain in my head. It was like someone sticking a dagger into the top of my head, you know, and over and over again, and I would hallucinate that pain. Nothing was really happening to me, but I would hallucinate that pain. I do think it was like cocaine withdrawals or something like that. But it was part of my communist hallucinations, and the communists kept telling me like, if you stick through this, if you survive this, like you will be like a true comrade. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so I did, and I survived. You know, and I don't know. I was so out of it. I don't know. Maybe I died. Maybe not died. Maybe I almost died of drug withdrawals. But yeah, I stuck through it to the end, and then it was like and then it was like you get to unlock all of the trippiness of all of communism and socialism, you know what I'm saying? And it was like your reward, you know? And but there was going to be this civil war, and I had these crazy hallucinations about like really radical extremist people in society, and this was just common knowledge that there would be this communist versus fascist civil war, and everyone had to choose a side. Everyone had to choose one side or the other, and I chose the communist side, you know. So that was that, and the other thing that was mixed into all this was like feminism was heavily mixed into all this. So now when I was talking about like the hallucinations of like thoughts, you know, of other people's thoughts, I thought you could do this in like groups, like you could get the general thought of a group in society, you know. So that's where the socialism came from, like the socialist movement or the communist movement. Like I was getting the collective thoughts of the entire socialist communist movement, you know, and that's and it was like, I don't know. It was like receiving the thoughts from someone else's head, but like from, instead of that, another individual was like a whole movement, you know, and there were these whole worlds they created, and feminism was one of them, and I would, in like, there would be these breaks in between communism and socialism, and these feminists, I would hallucinate these feminists, these women, they would come into my head, and it was all different types of feminism. It was every different part of the feminist movement, you know, and they would give me like lessons on how to basically treat women, and how to be a good guy, how to be a feminist man, how to be like a proper, like, respect women, and how to and that was mixed into all that too, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes the feminists would get really angry at me, really mad. These feminist cartoons I was hallucinating, they would get really angry at me, but they would like yell at me, and but it's sort of like, but I would take their advice, and it sort of corrected my thought patterns or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So yeah. And then basically I got diagnosed, and I started taking this medicine, and I have not hallucinated since, and none of this is in my mind anymore. But this was crazy shit, man. Like, I don't even know. Like, there's a lot of like mystical shit surrounding schizophrenia, and people think it's like a hidden truth or something like that. I think I was just out of my fucking mind. But it was an amazing experience. It was a very trippy experience, and it was like acid or shrooms or something like that, but just living that way, you know, like as if I was taking acid every day or shrooms every day, you know. But it was just like how it was just like my mind. I didn't need any drugs to do it. It was just my mind, you know. Now it may be because I took so much drugs before that happened. That's up in the air, you know. Because schizophrenia, you are born with schizophrenia. It's genetic, but it's a trait that you have, and that trait may not always manifest itself. But if you do drugs, it's more likely to manifest itself. So some people could technically have schizophrenia, be born with the trait, never show any signs of it. But I did lots of drugs in it, and so it obviously, that may be one of the reasons that it manifested. But yeah, this was such a crazy experience, and I think about it. I said it's not in my head anymore, but I do reflect on this experience a lot, and people find it interesting, so I wanted to make a video. Yeah, crazy shit. And I sort of want to make this video so I remember as I grow older, so I can remember what I hallucinated, because it was, this all took place over like the course of like 2-3 years. You know what I'm saying? Probably 2 years is when all this happened, you know. So for 2 years, I was basically hallucinating all day, every day, you know. And it was, I don't know, it's trippy, and a lot of people will be like, oh, I want to like live like that. I want to be able to hallucinate, but it distracts you, and you forget to take care of yourself. I wasn't going to class. I was not really eating as much as I should have been eating. I wasn't really washing myself, you know, showering. Because you forget about all that and you're just obsessed with the hallucinations. It's a distraction, you know. It's hard. It's very hard to live like that, you know. So I need medicine. But yeah, very crazy stuff. Very, very, very interesting experience. But yeah, that's about it for that. My experience with psychosis, schizophrenia, and the psychosis that comes along with it. That was basically my experience. So, yeah. Anyway, peace.